So my name's Toby, and I've been with CodePink since 2003. And in 2009, when I first heard about drone warfare, it was so under the radar. And we just, nationally, we had our very first big protest at a military base in Nevada, Creech Air Force Base. And I came down after that, that was in April 2009, I came down in July with a CodePink contingent. And ever since, I've been very active resisting drone warfare. And so anyway, when this, the way this delegation trip got started is there was a big summit in Washington, D.C. last April, trying to get all the drone resistance groups to come together and network and have more effectiveness. And so I had a big summit, and out of that came the inspiration to take some American citizens as citizen diplomats and go to Pakistan to meet with the people who are victims of our drone strikes and hear their firsthand stories about what the real truth is about U.S. drone strikes, to connect with the growing resistance in Pakistan. There's a man named Imran Khan. Raise your hand if you know who Imran Khan is. He's an ex-cricket player, superstar cricket player that has become a politician. And he's one of the most vocal persons in Pakistan against U.S. drone strikes and the U.S. war on terror. And in the last year and a half has organized massive mobilizations of people in different cities in Pakistan, tens of thousands of people protesting. And he's becoming more and more popular because he is speaking out about these drone strikes where many, many civilians get killed. And so part of the trip was to go there. He was planning his first big, they call it a march, they're actually caravans, like thousands of cars on the highway all going in the same direction with the PTI party flags, which is Imran Khan's party, Standing Movement for Justice. And so they were doing their first march to Waziristan, and they were going to have a big rally in Waziristan where all the drones are striking in Pakistan. And we wanted to coordinate our trip so we could join them on this big, massive caravan. I'm going to do a quick overview of drone warfare in very minimal detail, but if you really want to know a lot, you can actually purchase Medea Benjamin's book. She's one of the founders of CodePink, and it's chock full of information. She did lots of research, and she's been asked to do a publishing of the book. And updating it, but you can learn a lot from that. This picture here is a picture of the predator. You can tell it's a predator because the tail wings go downward. These fly over Creech Air Force Base, 1 hour north of Las Vegas. They actually train pilots there, but they also have pilots sitting at the computers and controlling the drones that are flying over Pakistan, flying over Iraq. No, not Pakistan, but Iraq and Afghanistan and other places. And so they're thousands of miles from the battlefield. And they call them pilots, but they never go into a plane. They just sit at a computer terminal. And if you can imagine this thing flying over your head, no windows in it, it's a very eerie feeling. They're really creepy looking when you're in Las Vegas, in the area looking at them. So very quickly, you can divide drones into two categories. The unmanned aerial, they're called unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, controlled remotely. And you can divide them into two categories, the armed and the unarmed. IRS stands for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. And the armed drones also have cameras and other equipment to do surveillance. So they do their own surveillance. The armed drones, the Predator and the Reapers, are the ones that carry the Hellfire missiles that get fired and kill lots of people. But there's special ones that only do the heavy-duty reconnaissance. And Global Hawk is the one that's flown out of Beale Air Force Base north of Sacramento. So we've been having protests out there for 2 years now. We go up there every month for 2 days and spend the night there. A lot of problems with drone warfare. There's no transparency. Both the Obama administration, the CIA, the military, they're all very secretive about what they're doing. And Congress is not making any effort to get details themselves, so there's no oversight from the other branches of government. It's a very worrisome direction that we're moving in. The ACLU has had multiple lawsuits against the U.S. government, the CIA, demanding documents to explain what they use to decide how to kill people, and basically our government, our military, has been silent over the issue. And United Nations has spoken out over the last couple years, and now they're actually calling for a UN investigation because they realize that the United States is becoming more and more lawless in how they use the drones. And it's unprecedented. It means it's our government's playing jury, judge, prosecutor, executioner, all by itself without any due process. And we're killing people while they're in their houses. Women are getting killed while they're cooking their meals. People are getting killed in their cars. They're getting killed in schools, in wedding parties, in jirgas. We're sending missiles into big gatherings of people, traditional gatherings of weddings and funerals, and it's really disturbing. We also have problems with domestic surveillance with drones. More and more, one at a time, police forces are getting their hands on them. In Alameda County, recently the sheriff's department's been trying to get their hands on a particular drone, this one that's flying up in the air, so that they can use it to do surveillance on American citizens. There's a growing resistance to it. Drones are proliferating so fast. We have 76 countries in the world with them. Some of them, not many countries have armed drones yet, but it's moving that way. Pakistan now has armed drones. There was a recent article. And so we need to get going, everybody, every U.S. citizen, every world citizen who cares about world peace, because these drones are making the world less safe. So here's a picture of, this is a Reaper, because these tail wings go upward, and this is a Hellfire missile shooting from them. Imagine what it's like being on the ground in Pakistan, seeing these planes flying. They see them flying over every day of their lives, anywhere from 3 to 4 to up to 20 in a day, some of these communities. And they can hear them and see them. Sometimes they can't see them, they can only hear them. It's very frightening. This is a map of Pakistan. And this area where my arrow is where the Fatah region is, north and western Waziristan, where the drones are being dropped. They're all concentrated in this area. It's disturbing part about, and this is Afghanistan over here. Kabul is very close to the area where the drones are being hit. Iran is down here, and India on the other side. And what's really disturbing is that the Fatah region is a semi-autonomous region. They're separate from the Pakistani government. I don't know a lot of details about it. It's part of the Pakistan country, but they're autonomous in a lot of ways. So they don't have any air force. So basically we're dropping these drone missiles with robot weapons, remotely controlled weapons, planes, without the people on the ground have any way to fight back. We picked that section because there's a war going on in Afghanistan, and this whole region crossing the borders is Pashtun. That's a whole separate cultural entity of itself, just like the Kurds in Iraq and Iran and Turkey. These borders were really set by Western influences over the course of history. They're artificial borders because the cultural borders are very different. And so there was, thoughts that a lot of the men were going across the border in Afghanistan to support those fighting the war on terror. The Pakistan government has cooperated with the United States to create barriers to prevent cross-border assistance. The CIA has been dropping drones on Pakistan since 2004. It's hard to know exactly how many people have really died. This is statistics from the Bureau of Investigative Journalism. I'm sure it's an under-report. There's a new report that was released, a new study that was done last month in October called the Columbia Study. And they said that even these independent journalists and different people that are independently getting statistics separate from the military in the U.S. were under-reporting the true deaths, and they gave lots of reasons why. So even these numbers they're underestimated. So 352 strikes at least that many since the CIA started dropping Hellfire missiles. The range of estimate of how many civilians, anywhere from 2,500, let's say, to almost 3,500. And of those, this is a pretty conservative number, 472 to 885 civilian deaths. The fact that there's such a large range here tells you how difficult it is to get true numbers. At least 176 children have been killed, and that many more injured. And what do all these drone strikes do in Pakistan? They make enemies. They make us turn us into their enemy. The change we were promised, Bush in his 8 years has fired 52 strikes on Pakistan, and Obama in just 4 years, look what he's done for the country of Pakistan. A recent study showed that 74% of the people in Pakistan now think that U.S. is their worst enemy. So Tariq Aziz, this is a man I want you to know. Turn your head to the right and you'll see this person on the window there. He is a 16-year-old boy. He lives in Waziristan. He lost a cousin in a drone strike. He went to Islamabad in October of last year to be part of a jirga, which is a gathering of when people come together in the community, especially elders, to talk about important issues and try to settle disputes. It also can be a governing body. But he went to this jirga in Islamabad, traveled all the way across the country. And the purpose of the meeting was to talk about the drone attacks and drone strikes. What are they going to do about it? He pledged to learn photography. He was given a camera. He wasn't back home in Waziristan for more than 2 or 3 days. And guess what? He struck and killed by a Hellfire missile. He was driving in a car, 16 years old, with his 12-year-old another cousin, and they were hit with a drone missile. And my question to you is, do you think it was an accident? The other name I want you to know is Anwar al-Awlaki. He's a Yemeni cleric. He had nothing to do with Pakistan, but he's an important name to always remember. He is allegedly guilty for plotting terrorist strike plots against the United States, or at least one in particular, the underwear bomber plot. And he was in Yemen last year, again in October, and he was on a hit list for many, many months, and the ACLU had a lawsuit against the United States for putting he is an American citizen, and he was on a hit list, and the ACLU had a lawsuit saying, what justification does the U.S. have to put an American citizen on a hit list to kill them without due process, without a trial, without a fair jury to answer if he's guilty or not. So he was killed last October with a drone strike. 2 weeks later, his 16-year-old son, Abdul Rahman, was born in Denver, Colorado, traveling in Yemen to try to find his father, and he, I don't know if he even knew that if his father was alive or not at that point, but 2 weeks after his father was killed, he was also killed with a drone strike.